Yo kids, what's up? Hey, Goat here. Hey, I'm going to give you a peek inside my Jackson Liska. I got it 2018, got it spring of last year, so I got it in 2018, had it for about a year, and want to give you kind of a quick review and show you some of the mods I have. Things like that. This right here is my electronic console. The boat comes with slide track right down through here, and I put an action camera up front, which is on a quick disconnect and a ram mount, and then I have a fish finder. Basically just, tells depth, fish, and water temp. I don't really know that I need much more than that. It's a simple unit. And I got this on Amazon. It's the same one I use on my trekking pole. So there's a thread at the bottom so I can adjust my phone. But I put my phone there too, so I have my mapping there off Navionics, my electronics, and my balls cam. The seat on this it's an amazingly comfortable seat. It folds down, and it sits on this track right here. You can see there's a track on that side and obviously one on this side, and there's some wing nuts, and the whole seat slides forward and backward so you can kind of trim. So if you're heavy in the back or heavy in the front, you're able to kind of adjust your weight as necessary. It comes with the seat. It also comes with this little mesh bag. I mounted a dive knife on the strap just in case I ever need to cut something really fast, particularly my anchor. This is really nothing more than a clothesline, and it wraps around this, and I got it anchored to the base here so it doesn't swivel or move around. The Liska has a couple eye bolts here that you run your line through to keep it out of the way, and I put a ring on it, and then it has this trough, and there's one on each side, and I have chain that I forgot to put on here. Not maybe I'll do it in the next one, but yeah, I rubber dipped 2 pieces of chain, and it just slides right down, and this goes downhill a little bit, so there's a decline, and then it just falls down in this hole. So that's my anchor system. I bought this angle cooler. It's my dry storage, and actually it comes with, if you buy the option, it comes with 4 of these rod holders. So technically there's one on this side, one on that side. It basically is just dry storage. Has a little tray on the top and whatever. I tend to throw extra clothes in there or whatever I really want to keep dry. I took off the other side of the this rod holder, and I took off the back one on each side because the boat actually has 2 built in, and then I left 2 on the cooler, so that gives me 4 rods. And what I had done, and this is my back camera, and that's just a Targus pole and some fabrications I made with ram ball and so on, some parts, and then down here are some more Scotty parts. You can see how to do all that online. Yesterday was my first run with this camera setup, so right now I just taped the battery bank to it and then zip tied the cord, but I will eventually, I think, mount a dry box on here. That way it'll keep my battery bank dry. But so that's what I did, and I'm going to do on the same on the other side. Is I put the Scotty mount here. I had to fabricate it to a base plate, and then I put it on the existing bolt so I don't have to drill into my dry box. On the back here you can see there's more pad eyes on the side, and you can run a chain if you wanted to. And there is some rail here. It is rudder ready, so if you wanted to drill a hole here, you could run it back, and it comes with this already kind of set up like this if you wanted to use a power pole or a rudder, and there's also some holes in the back. Also on the bow of the boat there is this Jackson kind of ring right here, And I've seen, and I might do it for extra storage, but they sell a 5 or 6 inch, I think, plate where you can cut that out and make that an additional dry storage. It's not a ton of room, I mean, if you're looking here, but if you wanted to, you could do that and have a little bit more under dry storage. Also in the back is this humongous tank well, and you can see my dry boxes in there, and it's, I don't know, probably at least a foot wide, and I have a couple inches up front and definitely enough room for more stuff, another foot in the back behind it. So if you had a cooler or whatever you wanted to throw back there, you could. Lastly, and this is a nice feature, on the back, obviously where I showed you, this is kind of a handle, but it comes with this replaceable kind of skag guard. I guess it's in the back, so I don't know if they really call it a skag guard, but anyway, this screws in and it just kind of protects the your boat as you pick it up and slide it in your truck or whatever, or scrape it on the ground. You can replace this. I actually wish that they put one of these in the front, because my front is starting to get wore because I turned the boat around and put the front end out the back. So my front's wearing right here, so Jackson, if you'd like, you should put this in the front as well, because it's a great idea, and then you can replace it as need be. On the side next to the seat, there is some rubber coated handles with mesh. These are really comfortable, and on each side there is this. If you wanted to put your paddle through there, there's a little concave here, or if you had a pole, like a stake pole anchor, you could put one there. The deck comes padded, and there's huge scupper holes up in the front. There's 2 of them underneath your seat as well, and then 2 of them in the tank well to keep everything kind of dry and let the water drain good. I do notice when I stand up, right at this point, right in front of my seat, so it would be like right there, it tends to concave the plastic, so water does build up a little bit right there. When I stand, it comes up through the scupper holes as it always would, and it creates a low point there. So Jackson, if you want to like support that section a little bit better, it'll keep people drier. Only when I stand though, so if I'm just rowing and sitting, it doesn't affect it at all. On the front here, there's also gear track and foot pads that adjust. It does come with a 1.5 inch ram ball and a rod holder. I chose to flip that out. I don't like those ram balls because they work great on one side because of the threads, but on the other side, when a fish hits, it creates a torque this way, pulling everything back, and then it loosens the screw. So I hate that. So I went with these stealth bases, and they're awesome. I musky fish and steelhead fish, so these fish tend to have a little bit more weight, and they would just loosen that every time. So the stealth bases work with all the Scotty parts. So this is all Scotty up top, and then and I adjusted this. I added some arms and quick disconnects and stuff because I want to be able to make it modular and move it. And musky rods are long. If I was just, strictly using small spinning rods, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. But with bait casts with long handles and so on, you need to be able to have everything kind of raised up a little bit. So that's what I did. But these bases from Stealth are amazing, and you can just adjust it. Like I said, it works with the same Scotty system. Everything on top is Scotty, so they're great. The foot pads move, so you can slide them forward, backward, whatever. under my console, and I should have showed you this before when I was talking about my console, there's a little, this is a hatch. So I have a dry box in there with my batteries and stuff, and there's a scupper hole right there with a hillbilly modification for my transducer, but it works good. You can do whatever you want with this, and there's screws, so if you want to take this off and make this an open deck even more, which this deck is huge, you can take off that shroud. I like it because it kind of covers up my stuff, and then I throw a water bottle in there and anything that I kind of want quick access to. Here's a view of the front hatch with just the standard track that comes on it, without all the electronics covering it up to kind of give you a better view. On the bottom, right here is that front scupper hole underneath that front hatch, and as you can see, there's a recessed area for your transducer that's at least 1 inch below, so if it wouldn't get hit by rocks or whatever in the river. It comes with this metal eye bolt right here. It's a loop, and it also comes with a stand-up assist strap. I actually never really use it except for a tie down into my truck. I might actually extend it. I might get a little longer one and then use it as a paddle leash, something a little smaller, but that's kind of where I'm headed with that. The bow of the boat has this dry storage, and all the locking mechanisms on these work on this kind of toggle where you turn it and then it fits through. But there is pretty nice dry storage up in the front. It has a gasket around it, so it tends to stay pretty dry. I've taken water over the bow in rapids and things like that, and everything stays pretty dry. You know, it is underneath the deck, so I would recommend dry bags anyway, but if you're camping or whatever, you can throw extra stuff in there, a bag of extra clothes, whatever you want. On this front hatch, it has bungees here, so I tend to slide my paddle blade up under that when I'm fishing, and my paddle just runs right along the side there, so that's a nice feature as well. On the very, very front, it has your drain plug and another one of these comfortable handles set up here, and a little divot so you don't bang your knuckles. I thought that was pretty well thought out. It comes with, in Jackson fashion, a flag that I just keep tied there, but this is great for car traveling because this boat is total 12 foot 1 inches, so even in a regular standard pickup with a 6 foot or 8 foot bed, you're still sticking out the back end, so a flag is really nice to have. Underneath the seat is where I throw my boxes. I just toss them under there. I carry Plano 3700s, and I mean, you can easily stack 3 of them underneath it. When the chair is in high, it also adjusts to low. I forgot to tell you that. And it works on these pins, so you just pull this cotter pin out, and then you can just drop the chair down into the lower section. It gives you probably 3 or 4 inch height to give you a little bit better view. As you can see, if you just turn this knob right here, this whole piece slides this way. It's kind of locked because of my anchor, but it's a really simple seat adjustment for lower and upper. And here is a view, so it's about 3.5 inches probably of height difference from the bottom to the top. And the seat just has those little cotter pins as I showed you before, so all you just pull the pin out and then you can adjust the seat from high to low. There's a back adjustment as well, so you put it there instead of there, but same thing. This boat is extremely stable. I can't remember how wide it is, so you have to look at the specs, but I've stood up tons of times in lakes with boats going through, and I've never worried about flipping. I mean, if a huge boat blows right next to me, I'll definitely sit down because I don't want to get rocked by the wake. But I've stood in river currents on boat wakes, and this thing is amazingly stable to stand up and fish in. I had a race with Restless when I first got it, and he has a Jackson also. He has the Kusa HD, which is a river model, and the specs are very similar. And we wanted to see which one was faster, and both of us paddled as fast as we could, and we were neck and neck next to each other. So I don't think that this boat is any slower or faster than the Kusa HD. It is a little bit more stable, and the Kusa HD has a little bit better turning radius in moving water. This does perform very well, but his boat is definitely a little bit better if you strictly river fished. It's just a little bit more maneuverable in tight spaces to get around rocks and things like that. That being said, this boat is really maneuverable as well. But if you strictly river fish, that would be the way to go. If you strictly lake fish, this would be the way to go. I feel like this is good middle ground. Anyway, those are some of the mods and fabrications that I've done. I hope this helps somebody out, and hopefully this gives you a good look at the boat. It's an amazing boat. I would recommend it. And I think it's in about the $1,200 price range. So for the money, you really can't beat it. They made a solid boat.